Do they have cameras somewhere else on the racetrack for you to see?
Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to day 2 here at AHRMA MotoFest here in the Heartlands at Heartland Motorsport Park. I have our Grand Marshal for the weekend next to me here, a man that really needs no introduction, but just in case you're brand new to motorcycling, I have Mr. David Aldana with me here, who is our Grand Marshal. This is the 50th year anniversary of On Any Sunday, right? Where did that time go? And so this is, not only are you a legend, an icon in motorcycle racing, in American motorcycle racing, but now with the 50-year anniversary of On Any Sunday, you are the busiest man in motorcycling. You are everywhere this summer. What's going on with you? Tell us all about it.
Well, as you said, Jackie, the 50th anniversary of On Any Sunday, which had a lot to do to influence how motorcycling has progressed over the years, has come around, as you said. It's amazing how time has flown by. But right now, I have been, because I'm one of the few guys that are still around and still actively riding motorcycles, I've been asked to do quite a few things this year, which I'm glad and happy to do, because the movie, like I said, changed the way that people perceive motorcyclists, that it's my way of giving back to the profession that allowed me to continue doing what I'm doing. So to be invited is an honor and a privilege to be, asked to be the Grand Marshal, and it's the least I can do. So I'm, as you said, very, very busy. Not only am I being Grand Marshal at 3 or 4 different events this year, but I am also competing in the AHRMA Dirt Track Series. So I'm doing some dirt track racing, I'm doing a little bit of motocross racing, and shooting my mouth off quite a bit about the movie, and promoting myself as much as I can to keep my name out there in the public's eye. But just great to be here and be able to do it.
Absolutely. And you're right. I mean, you're busy. You're all over the place. I brought up the 50-year anniversary, which is awesome, and they're re-releasing the movie. But even yesterday, you raced here with us, here at the MotoFest. You raced in the dirt tracks across the road. How was it? How did you do?
Well, it started out good until practice, and then the bike acquired a miss that I couldn't quite fix, so I wasn't able to race yesterday in the motocross, so I only got to practice.
Oh.
So, but it was good. It was good. I enjoyed the little bit of practice that I got in there, but to answer your question, it was unsuccessful.
It was nothing ventured, nothing gained. You went out and you tried.
Yeah.
I have seen you race motocross in other events, and you still are out here just totally crushing it, just absolutely dominating. Did all of the people that were on the grid with you yesterday, did they all breathe a sigh of relief when they saw your bike poop out?
Well, it didn't blow up, but it sputtered as I rode away into the weeds. So it might have given somebody some...
a little feeling of hope, maybe.
Relief, I guess, that I wouldn't run into them, or they wouldn't run over me. I don't know.
That's true, too, that you didn't get stuck underneath a motorcycle somewhere.
That's right.
It's got to be someone's worst day ever when they run over David Aldana.
They do. When it has happened, they apologize. They say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And to me, I just think it's just a racing incident.
It's racing.
That's right.
It's
but they do feel bad for hitting me.
I bet they do. When you kind of use David Aldana, motorcycling legend, as a berm, I think that's probably kind of a bad move for a lot of the folks out there. They probably feel bad.
And some of them are thinking it's payback for the times that I may have run into them. Who knows exactly?
It's karma. I mean, it's all karma out there.
What goes around comes around. That's right.
So I was stoked to run into you here and have time to talk with you. You're always super approachable. You always have fun stuff going on. I've said it again that you're going to be all over America promoting the 50th anniversary of On Any Sunday. You're Grand Marshal at several events. You're now the ambassador for the AHRMA Dirt Track program.
Yeah, if you live long enough and can still string a few sentences together, they ask you to do about anything. Just to let people know, I will be the Grand Marshal at the Ohio Vintage Days, and I will be the Grand Marshal at Barber for the WERA National event that they're having there, and we'll be out at the Trailblazers banquet in California and the Sacramento Mile. All of this has to do with the 50th year anniversary. I just might want to add to the people who think that this movie has, been out for quite a long time, and remember that it's 50 years ago. I'm not 19 years old anymore. I'm 71 years old, and people think, well, you've changed a little bit, but, in the course of 50 years, I think a lot of people have, grown a little more wiser and more mature. So I'm not the guy that they saw on the film anymore, but I'm still in name David Aldana.
I think you're still that guy. I think you're still pretty wild and crazy out here. You're still out here having fun. You're out here crushing, racing bikes, having a good time, traveling across America, talking motorcycles. We might have like mellowed a tiny little bit, but I think you're still that guy in there. I think you're still that guy. So what race yesterday stoked you out? Did you have a chance to catch any of the road racing, or were you busy over in Dirtland?
I didn't get to see any, but I went through the pits and I talked to probably, 100 different riders and looked at their machinery and got very educated on the electric bikes, some of the vintage 500 singles, some of the sidecars. I actually got to spend a lot of time talking with a lot of the riders, even though I didn't get to see them on the racetrack. I did get a chance to see the bikes and talk to the guys, so that's interesting, and I'll be able to do that again today.
Excellent. You'll get a chance to spectate a little bit. Speaking of, the very first race grid just went out. That was the CB 160 and pre-1940 classes just had their launch. So I'm going to switch the camera down to the trackside camera here in just a second when they come back around. But we have a couple more minutes to chat. So I just wanted to also just say, are you racing? Where else are you? Are you racing this summer, or just signing autographs and being a celebrity?
Are we at Sturgis, South Dakota? The AHRMA's having a national TT and short track event during the Sturgis Rally.
Yes.
I've been racing motorcycles for over 50 years. I've never been to Sturgis. This will be my first.
What?
This will be my first time. I started out to Sturgis in the 70s. But somehow I got partying too heavily or too much on the way to there. I never made it past Kansas City. And so this time I'm looking forward because I'll be able. I'm going to be at Sturgis, and then I will be at another racetrack called GTR in South Carolina.
Nice.
And
so if we want to catch you racing, we got to go to Sturgis or South Carolina to catch you racing. But other than that,
AHRMA Barber motocross.
Good.
I'll be at that one.
Oh, good. That was the last time I saw you race, and you were excellent there. You did a great job. If my 2 cents matters to you, you did a great job, as always, of course. And no big shocker, right? David Aldana, thank you so much for stopping by. We appreciate you coming down and saying hey.
Thank you for having me.
David is going to be signing autographs and selling T-shirts and all sorts of cool stuff over by the concession stand for anybody that's watching here at the track.
Just look for the AHRMA.
Because we did have some folks that were watching trackside here today. So look for the AHRMA Easy Up. Come say hello to our Grand Marshal for this weekend, David Aldana. Thank you so much for stopping by, my friend.
You're welcome.
Go have fun out there. Go sign some autographs, and let's check out some more of this racing.
Will do. All right. So,
Alrighty, and this is the CB 160 class already underway. Jay was just announcing some of the order that was coming on in here. Let's go check Race Monitor and see what's going on over at Race Monitor. So this is going to be the order so far. This is accurate. Okay, so this is what's happening. In the number 1 position, the 784 machine. The number 2 is the 357 of Joe Corey. The number 3rd spot, 35L of Jack Kaintz from Wisconsin. Tim Terrell in 4. Charles Miller in 5. Stuart Sanders from Tennessee in 6. Mr. David Aldana stopping on by here to come say hello to us. Always a pleasure. Our Grand Marshal for the weekend, an excellent racer and a super fun human being. We always love having him around here at these AHRMA events. You never know who you're going to see here. All sorts of motorcycling legends and celebrities. Always a good time. Speaking of good times, we had a great time last night at the drag races. Jay, did you go to the drag races last night?
I'm sorry?
I said, did you go to the drag races last night?
I did not, unfortunately. I had other duties I needed to attend to, but I heard they were a lot of fun.
They were a really good time. Very cool. Very fun, a first-time event for AHRMA hosting those drag races. And it looks like we've got some first bikes coming on in here. Let's go back over and click over to Race Monitor to see where we are at.
Looks like 784, Christopher Ackinen still out front with bike number 357. Joe Corey back there in second at 35. Jack Kane still rounding out your top three. 294, John Scales in fourth at 220. Tim Terrell rounding out your top five. 88, Charles Miller still back there sixth. 215, Stuart Sanders in seventh. 820, Mitchell Barnes in eighth. 049, F. Danny Hammermill up to ninth. And it looks like it's going to be 893, Tyson Fritz dropping back in position to round out your top 10 with bike number 1A. Now Alex McLean right there behind him. Alex leading for the Prix 1940 class, working his way up and lapping her into the field, rather than not lapping, but into the field of some of the CB 160 riders. And it's going to be bike number 1I, Ralph Wessel, running second in class, starting his next lap there. He's running second in class for the Prix 1940 class.
Alrighty, and your results so far in this CB 160 and Prix 1940 class. We were talking a little bit yesterday on the show about this CB 160 class. Tons of really interesting history for this class. This has only been going on the last handful of years or so. This really got started out in the Pacific Northwest with a little club of racers out there that were looking for a more affordable way to start getting into vintage road racing. It was started as a little bit of a dare, a little bit of a bet maybe, and it had to be I think the price was $1,000 or maybe $500 bikes. And they started this little crew of CB 160s, and it just blew up, and there became 5 and then a dozen and then dozens of bikes, and now it is not uncommon to have 30, 40, even 50 bikes on the grids. At Barber vintage days especially, it is not uncommon to have 30, 40, 50, 60 CB160s out on the grid. It is a huge class now. It's brought a lot of new racers, a lot of young racers. Very, very exciting. Just really, really cool, fun to watch, and a bit of an affordable way to get into this racing program.
Attention out in the paddock. Let's go first call. First call for race number 2. The Thruxton Cup Challenge Bears is Novice Historic Production Heavyweight and Phillips Island Challenge. You guys are up here in just a moment. It's first call. First call for race number 2. The Thruxton Cup Challenge Bears, Novice Historical Production Heavyweight and Phillips Island Challenge. First call, race number 2.
And if you're just now joining the live stream, this is Jackie Van Ham, your girl in the know for all things motorcycle up in the tower.
White flag out for your race leader, 784, Christopher Ackinen, leading 357, Joe Corey, and 294, John Scales, working his way up onto the podium, dropping 335L, Jack Haynes back to fourth, and 220, Tim Terrell rounding out your top 5 as they start their exciting final lap here in this 4-lap exhibition race.
So there's one lap left here in this CB 160 class. It looked like pretty smooth sailing from start to finish from the current leader. What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, he's definitely put his head down checking out on everybody.
And we just talked to David Aldana up here in the booth, and I've invited several friends to come up here and say hello. We're going to stay trackside, though, so I can bring you the winner of this class. The white flag is still out. The CB 160 class is winding down. I just showed you where we were at as far as the standings. White flag is out for the current leader. And now the checkers are getting ready to fly here in just a moment. Looks like we've still got a couple more bodies. Is he about ready to lap somebody?
No, that's one of the slower riders.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because he's got our flagman, our excellent flagman already has the checkers in his right hand, which means that they're coming up here pretty soon.
Pretty sure this might be leader. Nope, still a lap rider.
Nope, still lap rider.
Still back marker.
Or back marker, I should say. You're right. But a beautiful day so far. The weather here has been a little cool, a little cloudy. Started out nice and sunny today, though, so I think we're going to have a really good day of racing. And checkers are being waved right now.
Race winner 784, Christopher Ackinen, as he got the great jump there at the beginning of the start. Well, over full front straightaway lead over second place rider as they're working their way out of turn number 14 and down the front straightaway. It is going to be, looks like bike number 357, Joe Corey taking an unofficial second with 294, John Scales rounding out your top 3. Let's go second call. Second call, race number 2. Thruxton Cup Challenge Bears is not as historical production heavyweight in Phillips Island Challenge. Guys are up here in just a moment. It's second call. Second call for the Thruxton Cup Challenge Bears, not as historical production heavyweight in Phillips Island Challenge. Second call, race number 2.
And there it is, friends, your results for the CB160 and Pre-1940 class, although the majority of these bikes all look... Oh, no, there's a couple Pre-1940s coming in. Looks like Pre-1940, your winner is probably going to be, or is, Alex McLean in the Pre-1940 class. And the winner is of the CB160 is 784.
Back on through the field, bike number 1A, Alex McLean takes the unofficial
But
win
while
after
we are up here and winding down this class, I did invite several friends to stop by, come say hey. And my buddy Tony Rust, in Rust We Trust, Tony Prust from Analog is here. I saw his name show up on the grid sheets yesterday. I was not aware that you were racing with AHRMA. Tony, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello. The most mellow dude probably in the entire paddock, but builds absolutely stunning, beautiful bikes and awesome custom parts, and now races with AHRMA the past several years. How's your AHRMA weekend going?
It's going pretty good. I won my class yesterday and bumped up a class to try out the bigger boys class and took 4th out of 15 in there, so it's pretty good. It's hauling pretty good.
I mean, that's not too shabby for your first crack out at bumping up to a bigger class. 4th place, are you going to stay there or are you going to keep sandbagging?
Actually, we are in the process of building a bike for that class, so
Excellent.
Probably next year will be a little bit more competitive.
What class is it?
BOT1, so Battle of the Twins 1.
Battle of Twins 1. What bike are you building?
It's kind of a crazy one. It'll be...
Is it a cheater bike?
There is no cheater bike in Battle of the
It's a rules
Twins.
book bike,
Yeah,
right?
Battle of the Twins is... Battle of Twins 1 is air-cooled twin. That is the only rule. So we can do whatever we want. But we got a titanium frame and...
What's
some
the power
pretty-
plant, though?
It'll be a Ducati,
Of course.
built Ducati, so probably 100,
Let's
150
go
horse or
third
so.
call.
Should be
Third
fun.
call for
We do
race
build some
number 2.
beautiful
Thruxton Cup
Ducatis.
Challenge
That's not the
Bears.
first
Not
Ducati
as
I've seen
historical
floating
production
around
heavyweight
that's had your
Phillips
thumbprint on
Island
it,
Challenge.
or is going to have your
Third call.
thumbprint on it. You
Third
do build
call.
gorgeous
Thruxton Cup
bikes,
Challenge
and you
Bears.
recently
Not as
relocated
historical
down to
production
Tennessee.
heavyweight
How's
Phillips
how's everything
Island
going
Challenge.
analog?
Race number 2,
So
third call.
we relocated in August and down in Harrison, Tennessee, just north of Chattanooga. Love the roads, love the weather, love the scenery, love the area. Busy, really busy. The parts line, Analog Motor Goods, is our parts brand. We been really busy making parts, shipping parts, and since I'm solo down there, it's just been a lot of work.
I mean, there's worse things. There's worse problems to have, my friend, than staying very busy building awesome motorcycle parts
100% agree. Not complaining.
and coming racing with us
Yep.
on the occasional weekend. When is your next race weekend with us here at AHRMA?
So I'm planning on making the trip up to the back-to-back Gingerman Blackhawk weekends. So I'll be up there.
Very
in,
cool.
End of July, August.
Very cool. Well, it's awesome to see you. Thank you for coming on by. It was so
Thanks
fun
for
to run
having me.
into you. And like I said, I saw your name on the grid sheets yesterday and took a second and then took a double look. And then I was like, is there more than one Tony
I don't think
Proust? And then I was like, Prust, like it rust.
like rust.
In Rust We Trust is how I said it yesterday. And then some of your friends from Wisconsin, some fellow or Northern Illinois, Wisconsin, Midwest, texted me and said, no, that is Tony from Analog. It's him. He's here. So it was really rad to run into you. Congratulations on a very successful day yesterday. You're racing today.
I am race 5.
Okay, so I will let you get back to it. I know you've got to go get your gear together, get your bike all together, and head on out there. Have a great race, my friend. Thank you so much for stopping by. Mr. Tony Prust in Rust We Trust from Analog. Thanks for stopping by, my friend. Have a great race day.
Thank you.
So we're heading into our next racing grid up here. Again, this is the behind the scenes up here in the tower, inviting friends to come say hello to us and visit us in between the races and give you a little bit of a chat, a little bit of behind the scenes look. What's our next grid coming out?
Thruxton Cup, Bears, Novice Historic Production Heavyweight, and Phillips Island Challenge.
Donahoe.
I've got you. That's what I thought.
Alrighty. For those of you who are following along, next grid that is making its way out here shortly is going to be Thruxton Cup Challenge, which is that modern class, but with retro-styled bikes. That's what the Triumph Thruxtons are, obviously. It is also going to be Bears, British, European, and American Racing, Novice Historical Production Heavyweight, which is a huge mouthful, but around here we just call it Proddy Heavy, and then Phillip Island Challenge. That's what's heading out here next, here at Race 2, Day 2 of the MotoFest here at the Heartland Motorsports Park in Topeka, Kansas.
Bike number 81 X Wick Wilkinson. Second row is going to be bike number 858, Charles Steinman, and 385, John Jewett. Back for the Bearsfield on row number 4, it's going to be Arnold Dennis Donahoe, 116B, Ben Schmidt, and 168, Kenneth Tripkos. For the Novice Historical Production Heavyweight, back on number 6, it's going to be 75H Herb High, 777 William Dokianos, 15G Sean Gilmore, and M49 Thomas Hillard. And then rounding out your field for the Phillips Island Challenge class, presented by Rick Wilson Racing. It's going to be 515 Jeremy Mandrill back on row number 8. So again, Thruxton Cup Challenge presented by NOLA Riding Academy. Bears presented by Candy and John Sneed. Novice Production Historic Heavyweight presented by XL Storage. And of course the Phillips Island Challenge presented by Wick Wilson Racing. Up through 2015 for the Bearsfield, which stands for British European American Racing Series, sponsored by Candy and John Sneed. These are 2-cylinder pushrod machines built up through 1968, competing under Formula 750 specifications. The machines must be representative of race bikes of that era, with fairings and the low-style clip-on handlebars. Brands typically represented include BMW, BSA, Harley-Davidson, Moto Guzzi, and Triumph. And then for the Novice Historic Production Heavyweight field, sponsored by XL Storage and Herb High, this class is open to production street machines built up to the 1978 model year as determined by frame and major components and light design. Machines must use original unmodified OEM frames, swing arm, forks, and handlebar mounts. 1978 and earlier street machines in very close to standard production trim are represented out there. Minimal modifications make this an inexpensive and entry-level class intended for novice-level riders. The heavyweight class is for 4 strokes up to 750 cc's and 350 to 500 cc 2 strokes. XL Storage is in St. Petersburg, Florida, is not only an extra home for your 2 or even 4-wheel toys, but it's a great community to hang out in. Ride down and say hi to Herb, number 75H, Pam, and Miss Gracie.
All right, and that was Jay, the voice in the sky here at the track, who does not want to be on camera, so I'll let him hide out over there, doing the little bit of the background information of these different classes and the sponsors of these classes. Thank you so much, Jay, for all that awesome information. This is, again, Thruxton Cup Challenge, Bears, Phillip Island Challenge, and Novice Historic Production Heavyweight classes.
Paddock, all Cycle Corral riders should be over at the Law Tiger Gear Check Station for your 10:30 mandatory parade lap briefing. If we need to get all Cycle Corral riders. If you're not over at the Law Tiger Gear Check Station, we need to get you there immediately. Again, all Cycle Corral riders, please make your way to the Law Tiger Gear Check Station for the 10:30 mandatory briefing on the parade lap. It's out of the way. Green flag waves. It looks like the Thruxton Cup Challenge, everybody pretty much evenly off across the start-finish line up over the crest of the hill towards turn alpha and then down into turn number 1. Looking back to the second wave back here for the Novice Historical Production Heavyweight and the Phillips Island Challenge bikes. Green flag waves on that one, and it looks like 515 Jeremy Madrill from the back row gets an excellent start, leading that pack up over the crest of the hill here on the opening laps. You got a rocket start.
Great start, right? Charging that alpha first little corner up there. I hate to say even corner, but alpha jog.
That's what they tell us.
Alpha jog, alpha bump. Here at this track, that alpha is a little bit of a zigzag right before turn 1. It was deemed a couple of years ago that turn 1 was a little too fast going into that turn, so they went ahead and added just a tiny little bit of a zigzag to slow that corner down just a little bit here at the Heartland Motorsports Park here in Topeka, Kansas.
They are available for pickup down at the Tech building down at the south end of the paddock. Now that's not the tech where you take your bikes, that's the tech building down towards the end of this paddock where the banquets was held on Friday night. So if you want to stop by, pick up your trophy down there, and then stop by the second floor, see Miss Jackie do an interview. We'll put you out there live streaming on the World Wide Web. Also at around 11 o'clock today, Mr. Dave Aldana is going to be over there behind the concession stand underneath the AHRMA Easy Ups. He's got some t-shirts there available and signing autographs. So we encourage everybody to stop by and talk with Dave, check out some of his racing history. Obviously, 50 years ago when On Any Sunday was released by Bruce Brown Films, he was one of the stars. So it's great to see him out here with us today. So I encourage everybody to stop in there at 11 o'clock on to see Mr. Aldana and get an autograph and talk to him about some of his racing experiences over the decades.
All right, these very first bikes, it looks like Thruxton Cup Challenge, are starting to make their way across the line. So let's go take a gander here in just a moment over at the race monitor results screen.
Out front, looks like bike number 33T, Siraj Tarian out leading about a half a front straight, almost a full front straightaway lead over 76X Patrick McGraw, solidly back there in second. Then it's going to be 858 Charles Steinemann rounding out your top three. 81X Wick Wilkinson back there in fourth, and then R11 Dennis Donahoe rounding out your top five. He's leading for the Bears class, being chased down by 16B Ben Schmidt. He's running second in class as he begins his next lap. Then next across the line, it is going to be, I believe that's going to be 515. Yeah, Jeremy Mandrell starting way back on row number, I believe it was 8 in the second wave, working his way up to 7th overall, leading for the Phillips Island Challenge as he starts his next lap. Picking me up.
And that's right, Donahoe.
Yeah. Sometimes I get to mispronounce the names and I apologize.
No, a couple of you peeked in that were watching yesterday and corrected some of the pronunciations. Hey, we do the best we can out here, man. There's a million different names up here. We don't always get it right, but that's cool. You can type in and let us know the right way to pronounce the names. We want to get it right for you. So anyway, Donahoe, how's that?
Yeah.
All right.
Bike number 33T, Siraj Tarian, once again really stretching out his lead, well over a full front straightaway lead over that second place rider. He's definitely found his rhythm and turning in some ultra fast laps. Looks like our next bike's going to be 76X Patrick McGraw as he's got his head down, trying to get a little bit more horsepower, a little bit more aerodynamic as he's under the start finish line or underneath the start tower up over the crest of the hill to start his next lap. And he's got an even larger gap back to that third place rider. I believe here he comes, should be bike number 858, Charles Steinemann, out of turn number 14 onto the front straightaway to begin his next lap. And it is going to be, Mr. Charles Steinemann, then 81X Wick Wilkinson rounding out your top five. Here's your leader for the Bears class, rounding out the top five. R11 Dennis Donahoe still continues his lead over bike number 16B Ben Schmidt.
I really do enjoy watching this Thruxton Cup Challenge. This Thruxton class has been going on for quite a while now, and it's had its share of stars and racers from other race organizations here in the U.S. A little bit of everybody has had the chance to jump in and race this Thruxton Cup. I think it appeals to a lot of people because it's modern bikes, but they have that retro style, and then they can come play with the vintage bike classes out here and dice it up a little bit and hang out at the vintage bike weekend, even though they're on a modern machine. So I've seen, we were just talking yesterday, I think it was Kenny Cummings, I think we were talking to yesterday, and he mentioned a couple of cool names, and I think Jace Springsteen, I think, has ran Thruxton Cup in the Wayback Machine. Bobby McClendon, who is another well-known name in American flat track racing circles, he has raced Thruxton Cup. I think in the Wayback, I think Gary Nixon even threw a leg over Thruxton Cup in the Wayback Machine, so it's had its fair share of really fun rock and roll people jumping in and dicing it up on that bike. nice and cool out again today. Really beautiful. Perfect. I mean, to me, it's perfect race weather. I love the sunshine because it looks nice and everything looks good underneath it, but it's nice when it's a little cooler out there.
Yeah, it's the skies are definitely a little bit lighter today than they have been, but it's definitely a fast day. Attention out there in the paddock with the halfway flags out on this one. It looks like bike number 33T, Siraj Tarian, is still leading out there as he starts the second half of his race. Then it's going to be 76X. Patrick McGraw, he sees the green and white crossed halfway flags, letting him know he's got 3 done and 3 left to go as the field is fairly spread out here in the opening laps of race number 2. Next across the line is going to be 858 Charles Steinman as he starts the second half of his race. Then it's going to be bike number 81X Wilkinson. He's running 4th in class, and here's your leader for the Bears. Rounding out your top 5 is bike number R11 Dennis Donahoe as he starts the second half of his race.
Siraj Tarian had a great day out here yesterday as well. Very, very fast. Either a winner or towards the top of the pack for sure, because I know we said that name an awful lot yesterday. And a local. He's from Kansas.
Yeah. He is definitely moving.
So here's our current standings. Siraj Tarian still in 1, and the halfway flags just got thrown out, so we're halfway through this race. Pat Man from North Carolina, one of my real life friends out there, he is in 2nd place. Steinman in 3, Wilkinson 4, Donahoe in 5. But Donahoe is in the Bears, so technically he's in 1 for Bears. For 5 of the Thruxton Cup, it's John Jewett. But definitely the big concern this weekend has been, and the big talk has been about the weather. You know, we are in Tornado Alley out here. There was a really whopper storm on Thursday night, I think.
Yeah.
And lots of folks were a little nervous about sleeping in tents or camping out here. It did get a little wet, got a little rowdy. But it's held out for the most part. It's been cool and pleasant, a little overcast. That being said, though, the whole point of my tirade here is that we cut practice a little bit short this morning, I think, to try to keep this program clipping on along.
Well, we gave them the same amount of times. It's just we didn't have quite the drags that we had yesterday. Everybody behaved themselves and stayed on the track.
Oh, or that. It seemed to go really fast is all I was going to say.
Yeah. Yesterday and unfortunately on Wednesday, or on Friday's practice rather, we had several mechanicals that we had to go pick up, and with this track, that does seem to slow the program down just a bit. But everybody did a great job this morning. I didn't have to roll any trucks. Actually, we did have to roll one, but that was a real quick pickup, not a problem. So that's why it seemed like it went so much faster. I just looked at the weather forecast. It looks like the precipitation's going to hold off till this evening, so we're keeping our fingers crossed that we'll be able to get this race in a dry one. But yeah, it's still only in the 60s out there right now, and with the dry track, cool weather, good horsepower, keeps the riders cool. So yeah, this is just about ideal racing for temperatures for motorcycle racing. I know guys get a little nervous about their tires, but the track surface picking up the ambient radiation from the sun, that track's still warmer than a lot of people think. So we're going to see some fast lap times today, I'm sure.
I think so too, and especially being the second day, it's kind of now or nothing.
Yeah,
it's you've got to put it all out there today.
Race leader, bike number 33T, Siraj Tarian, seeing the white flag, starting his final lap, letting him know he's got one more lap to go to taste victory. Let's go first call for race number 3. Classic 60s, Classic 60s 650, Sportsman 500, Formula 250. You guys will be up in just a moment. It's first call. First call for race number 3, first call. Go for announce.
Let's take a look at the monitor, the race monitor.
Copy that. We've got it back to back in this one anyway, so I was already going to drag just a bit. Excellent. Thank you.
So Siraj Tarian has been pretty smooth sailing start to finish, really, throughout this whole thing, making it look very, very easy out there, making it look very smooth. His white flag, his last lap has already been dropped. So he has got about 12, by now, maybe 11 more corners to go. to see if he's going to snatch that checkered flag at the very end.
76X, Patrick McGraw taking the white flag as he starts his final lap. Then it looks like it's going to be 7:54. That'd be Herb High. He's done a lap there. He's running 7th overall. Herb being part of the group that was, I believe, sponsoring the race with the XL Storage, if I recall right. Yeah, Herb High from XL Storage. He's leading in the novice historic production heavyweight, and he's running at 7th out there, starting his final lap. Then it's going to be 8:53. Charles Steinman rounding out your top 3 for the Thruxton Cup.
But a great weekend out here all the way around. The weather held out, which we were all very grateful for. But also, this is one of the handful of events put on by AHRMA, American Historical Racing Motorcycle Association, that puts dirt and road together. A lot of times throughout the rest of the season, they get separated out. And dirt is one thing, and dirt and road racing are separated out. But this is together. This has been everything all weekend long. Just taking the checkers. Checkered flag is out. And that's going to be it. Your winner of that Thruxton Cup Challenge
Checkered flag
class.
out, waiting for your unofficial winner, bike number 33T, Saraj Tarian, as he put his head down starting in the very beginning and never looked back. Looking back towards turn number 14, waiting for our second place rider, should be 76X. Patrick McGraw, as he's working his way through the final turns over in the 10, 11, 12 area right now. Out of 13 onto 14, onto the front straightaway. Here it comes. It's going to be rider 76X, Patrick McGraw, seeing the checkered flag, letting him know he's got the unofficial second here in this race.
And then, wow, those two just really put a lot of space between them and the rest of the pack. We are still waiting. I'm showing the shot right now of the front straight. It is still empty. So those folks are quite a ways back in there.
Leader had about half a lap on third place already. I mean, man, he was flying.
Yeah, great racing out of the Thruxton Cup Challenge. Like I said, kind of a favorite class of mine. I'm a little partial to it.
Attention out there in the paddock. Let's go second call. Second call for race number 3. Second call for race number 3. That would be Classic 60s, Classic 60s 650, Sportsman 500, and Formula 250. You folks will be up here in just a moment. Oh, yep. And Grand Prix, 250 Grand Prix, that's in there too. Again, second call for race number 3. That's Classic 60s, Classic 60s 650, Sportsman 500, Formula 250, and 250 Grand Prix. You folks will be up here in just a little bit. Again, second call for race number 3. Classic 60s, Classic 60s 650, Sportsman 500, Formula 250, and 250 Grand Prix.
And we still have some machines making their way across the checkers coming on home. But as you just heard, we've got our next grid making its way to staging. This is race number 3. Classic 60s, Classic 60s 650, Sportsman 500, Formula 250, and 250 Grand Prix.
Unfortunately, got a pickup after this one, so I tried to drag. I don't know that I drug long enough.
Oh, do you have a 2?
Well, I know we got a back-to-back. That's Tim McGraw. He took a second. But they've got to get on track to do a pickup, which means I need to wait for the last bite. But I think they'll be okay. I mean, we got second. They'll hopefully get this guy picked up. That'll give Tim plenty of time to get his bike in, switch bikes, switch the transponders, and get back down here and get pre-gridded. So.
Sportsman 500, and what was the other one? Formula 250. And 250 Grand Prix. All right, these are the next group of folks heading on out here. Again, this is race number 3. This is going to be Classic 60s, Classic 60 650, Sportsman 500, Formula 250, and 250 GP.
Announced to start, we've got to drag just a minute, we got to pick up a bike.
So welcome everybody, if you're just now joining us here on the big show, this is day 2 of the AHRMA MotoFest, the classic MotoFest here in the Heartlands at Heartland Motorsports Park here in Topeka, Kansas. This is day 2 of an awesome 3-day event. Actually, there was racing all 3 days. Dirt racing started on the first day. I think there was a trials event that got kind of postponed because it was really muddy here. It was really rainy, so everything got packed into the last 2 days, yesterday and today. We are here in the tower, so
that race will be an official lunch break. I want to let everybody know that we'll be doing a non-denominational chapel service up here in the second floor of the timing and scoring tower, room number 209, the media center. So we'll make sure we put some more calls out for that as we get closer to the lunch period. But again, shortly after lunch or whenever we start our lunch here in just a little bit, we will be doing a non-denominational chapel service upstairs on the second floor of the timing and scoring tower in room 209 at the media center.
So this is a little bit of behind the scenes. We're here in the actual functioning tower. As you just heard, the voice in the sky here, the announcer, the PA overhead announcer, Jay, is next to me. So he's also not only calling the races and providing a little information over here to the live stream, he's also yelling at the racers out there, letting them, in a nice way, letting them know what's going on, including our lunch breaks and the grid calls and when they need to get to staging and all of that kind of information. So it's a little bit of behind the scenes. You'll see people walking behind me. It's the real deal here. We wanted to bring you a little bit of live action here at the AHRMA MotoFest, Classic MotoFest weekend. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. Make sure you hit that share button, share this feed with your friends that love watching some awesome vintage motorcycle racing. We're going to have road racing going on this afternoon. Rebecca's going to be putting in also a little bit of dirt racing here in between. So make sure you keep the feed on all day long. Now let's get back down. Oh, let's go. We still have a little bit of a pause. I think there was a bike out there somewhere that maybe ran out of gas, so they're going to go pick that guy or gal up. But I also just wanted to bring up that last night, you know, not only has it been just on-road racing and dirt racing, but last night for the very first time ever, there was drag racing. The husband and wife sidecar racing team out there. They were racing sidecars, they were racing vintage bikes, they were racing new bikes. They even had some people running on an electric, those one wheel that you kind of cruise around the pit and paddock on. It was hilarious. It was a super, super good time. Very first AHRMA Vintage Drags took place right here in Topeka, Kansas last night as well. It was a super good time. It's been a great weekend here. Thanks for joining us here on the live feed, or if you're watching trackside, thanks for coming on out and being part of this awesome show. Speaking of, we've got a lot more racing going on later on in the season. This is the road racing schedule for the rest of the season. Obviously, right now we are at the Heartland Motorsports Park, AHRMA Classic MotoFest. There's going to be New Jersey Motorsports Park going on June 18th through the 20th, July 16, 17, and 18 at WeatherTech Laguna Seca. Another AHRMA Classic MotoFest is going to be taking place out at beautiful Laguna Seca. At the end of July, Ginger Man is going to be running for the weekend. Black Hawk Farms Raceway is running in August. On my birthday, August 6th through the 8th. In September, Talladega is going to be running September 3rd through the 5th. And then in October, it is the Barber Motorsports Park. Awesome racing going on at Barber for their vintage days. So make sure you come on out and join us. Put this on your calendar.
Attention out in the paddock. Attention in the paddock. Let's go third call. Third call. Third and final call. Race number 3. Classic 60s, Classic 60 650, Sportsman 500, Formula 250, and 250 Grand Prix. Third's going out now. Once again, attention in the paddock. Third and final call for race number 3. Classic 60s, Classic 60 650, Sportsman 500, Formula 250, and 250 Grand Prix. You folks are up right now if you want to bring them on out. Again, it's third and final call for race number 3. announced to start. Third just went out.
So as we have spectators going out there and walking on the catwalk to go watch the racing, they're kind of bouncing around the cameras I have set up out there. It's real live streaming, folks. This is how we do out here. You never know what you're gonna get. It's okay. It's all good.
Do I need to put something on people down there on the pit pass to watch for the camera so they don't stand in front of them? I didn't do that yesterday. I probably should have.
I know. I thought about it, but everyone's being pretty cool about it. I think everyone's catching that there's a GoPro down there, and they're kind of giving me a little bit of room. At least they are today. So I think we're gonna have some clear views going on. And we're still just waiting for race number 3 to make their way over to the staging area. But I do see green flags flying, so I think they're starting to push bikes onto the track. I see them going right now.
As the riders take to the track for their warm-up lap, here's how they're going to grid up. For the Classic 60s race, row number 1 is 122 Alex McLean, 332 David Tompkins, and 623 Patrick McGraw. And that race is presented by Candy and John Sneed. Also for the Classic 60s 650s race presented by Candy and John Sneed. Back on row number 3, it's going to be 5, Greg Tomlinson, 864 John Ricard, 59C Bill Gould. For the Sportsman 500 class, presented by Niche Cycle Supply. Back on row number 5, it's going to be 33 Kevin Hipp, C85 Simon Brown, 31X Stephen Hipp, and 76U Luke Sawyer. Then on row number 6, it's going to be 97R Ken DeBellick, and 974 Patrick Riley, and 23 David Rutherford. And then rounding out that field, back on row number 7, it's 117X Marcus Esterline. For the 250 Formula, or the Formula 250 field, back on row number 9, it's going to be C27. It's going to be C27 Mark Brown, 188 Gerald Walthney, 9 Colton Roberts, and 820 Mitchell Barnes. Back on row number 10, it's going to be 96 Brian Woods, 995 Patrick Hansen, and 80X David Pierce. Back on row number 11, it's 709 Joe Ackley, M49 Thomas Hillard, and 19 Christopher Spargo. For the 250 Grand Prix field, sponsored by Candy and John Sneed. Back on row number 13, it's going to be bike number 7, David Roper, 294 John Scales, 533 Hiroshi Murata, and 670 Rick Armstrong. And then rounding out the field all the way around on row number 14, Tyson Fritz. That's your field here for race number 3. For the Classic 60s, sponsored by Candy and John Sneed, these are 1950 and 60s era Grand Prix and Clubman style racers. The maximum speed, or you use a maximum of a 4-speed gearbox. They're normally 350 to 500 cc 4-stroke or 750 cc side valve machines, similar models as the 550 GP and the 500 Premier, but in more original trim. Norton-mounted Alex McLean has been the National and Dixie Cup champion in the past 6 seasons. Classic 650s, also sponsored by Candy and John, are the same type of bikes, 50s and 60s era 650cc overhead valve or 883 side valve machines. This class runs with the Classic 60s, but they are scored differently. For the Sportsman 500, sponsored by Niche Cycles and Herm Narcicos, these are 1972 and earlier street bike based 4-stroke machines. There's a maximum of 3 cylinders, no fairings are allowed, but drum brakes are required. This class typically pits the British twins against the Hondas and Ducatis and even some BMWs once in a while. The Formula 250 class is primarily for 72 and earlier air-cooled 2-strokes, including singles up to 360 cc's and twins up to 250 cc's. 4-strokes are also allowed in this class with singles, and the Honda 350 to 400 cc twins and 4-cylinder 4-strokes are also allowed. Single disc front brakes are also allowed. In addition to Honda's, machines typically competing are Japanese and European 2-strokes, and even include the Canadian marquee Can-Am. For the 250 Grand Prix class, sponsored again by Candy and John Sneed, this class is for 1968 and earlier machines, including 250 4-strokes and air-cooled 2-stroke singles, and 175 liquid-cooled 2-strokes and 2-stroke twins, 2-stroke singles and twins. This includes purpose-built race bikes and converted production road and off-road bikes. That's your field here as they grid up in anticipation of the green flag. In anticipation of the green flag.
Nailed it. So I think I'm right. I believe I remember correctly from yesterday that the No, maybe it's 200 GP is what I'm thinking. I was just thinking that the CB160 class that ran the very first race for today, that's an exhibition-only class. There's no points involved in racing that class. So I think if they want to race for actual points, they have to bump themselves up to either 200 GP. I don't know, maybe some of them mess around in the 250 GP?
They might, but it said on here that they're required. Riders must be entered in the 200 Grand Prix Plus class to be eligible for that competition. So they're still required to race in their class.
Yeah. Alrighty, let's go trackside. Away they go. Oh, somebody got squirrely and literally went sideways.
Like number 623, Tomlinson gets a good. Actually, Patrick McGraw gets the jump out there on the field as he leads them down there. We got some excitement out there too. Looked like on one of the bikes in the back portion of that pack. I missed that one. What happened?
Somebody had a launch and literally got completely sideways to where they were running perpendicular.
Did he stand it up or what?
No. He just swerved real bad to the left.
Okay.
But thank goodness he was maybe like fourth row in, so it didn't. It was
Collect anybody?
didn't collect anybody. Yes, I was trying to think of the way to say that. Didn't collect anybody. Thank goodness. Woo! A little bit of excitement right out of the gate for race number 3 out here. This classic 60s 650, Sportsman 500, 250 Grand Prix, and Formula 250.
Well, our starter was just commenting on his radio about the wonderful start we saw. So
You never know what you're going to get out here. It's always exciting at AHRMA. But a big grid. How many bikes were out there? That was a lot. Not our largest of the day. Not the largest grid, but it sure felt like a pretty good amount of people right here.
Attention out there in the paddock. At the conclusion of this race, we will be at our official lunch break, and I'll make some calls for the non-denominational chapel service that we'll have up here on the second floor of the timing and scoring tower. Also, let everybody know that Dave Aldana has himself set up over there behind the concession area at the AHRMA Easy up over there. If you want to stop in, chat with him, get an autograph, maybe check out some of the t-shirts and some of the merchandise he has for sale. He's got some stuff back there, so make sure you stop by and chat with him, share some racing stories, or hear some of his history from 50 years of racing out there. Also, the concession stand is open down there. You want to stop by and get yourself a hot sandwich, maybe a hot dog or hamburger, cold beverage. Again, the concession stand is open.
Alrighty, and they're starting to make their way down the front straight.
Race leaders out of turn number 14 onto the front straightaway at the line. Looks like it's going to be 33, Kevin Hipp, then 122, Alex McLean, C85, Simon Brown rounding out your top 3. So that's a Sportsman 500, a Classic 60s, and a Sportsman 500 running up front. Then it's going to be 31X Stephen Hipp, or actually, I'm sorry, 33Q David Tompkins, then 31X Stephen Hipp rounding out your top 5. 623 Patrick McGraw back there at 6 with 117X Marcus Esterline and 7th. Bike number 5 Greg Tomlinson back there at 8th. 864 John Ricard at 9th, and 23 David Rutherford rounding out your top 10. GT is Greg Tomlinson.
I just was going to say, let's go take a gander at the race monitor, and P.S. That's right, Greg Tomlinson is GT, who was on our broadcast yesterday for a very, very long time. I meant to have him just stop by and just do a quick interview, but he decided to just hang out with us for the afternoon, which was super cool. He had lots of insight, lots of fun things to say. This is the class that he races in. He is a previous champion in this class, not this past year, not for 2020 because he didn't travel, but I believe in 2019. So that is the number 5 machine of Mr. GT is in this class. He did have a lot to say about the number 33 and 31X machines of the father and son duo of Stephen and Kevin Hipp, who love to go out there and bang bars. They're father and son, but you wouldn't know it, but somehow there's going to be some bad blood in the Sprinter van on the way home, depending on who wins and who loses, that's for sure. But he said that they're both really, really very fast guys, and they're always really fun to race with as well. So just a couple of standout names from these classes yesterday from my accidental co-host for the afternoon, Mr. GT out there. So as you just heard Jay, if you just caught on Jay, the voice in the sky here, the announcer over the overhead PA here at the event, was just announcing that there will be a break in track action. That's kind of a mouthful. There will be a break in track action going on at 11 o'clock.
Race leaders up at turn number 14. First and second basically nose to tail to each other as they cross the start-finish line. It is 33 Kevin Hipp leading for the Sportsman 500. He's being stalked by 122 Alex McLean, running second in class, running second overall, but he's leading for the Classic 60s field. And it's going to be 31X Stephen Hipp running third overall, second in class for the Sportsman 500. Then C85 Simon Brown in fourth. He's holding on to third for the Sportsman 500. Then it's bike number 33Q, David Tompkins, rounding out your top five. 864, John Ricard looks like he's leading for the Classic 6650, but I'm not quite sure on that. We're checking on that one. Seventh overall is bike number 5, Greg Tomlinson. If my race monitor is correct, he's holding down second in class for the Classic 6650. Then it's going to be bike number 117X Marcus Esterline. He's running an eighth back there. Ninth overall at the moment belongs to 709 Joey Ackley. And then bike number 9, Colton Roberts, rounding out your top 10.
All right, and some results coming across the start-finish line right now. The transponders are reporting in. Kevin Hipp, who I just mentioned, that father and son duo that love to bang bars out there. Kevin Hipp is currently in 1. Alex McLean in the Classic 60s is in first for his class. Sportsman 500 in second place is Stephen Hipp. So you were right, or like I just mentioned, it's that father and son team are neck and neck out there in 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. And there seems to be a lot of stalking that likes to go on. They like to kind of like play a little cat and mouse out there. So this is your current standings here in this race number 3 here at the AHRMA Classic MotoFest at Heartland Motorsports Park in Topeka, Kansas. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Let's go back to the big wide shot and see if we've got anybody starting to make their way back around. It does take a couple minutes. What do you think, like 2 minutes on average to get around this track, Jay?
I'm not sure what their lap times. Let's see. Yeah, these guys looks like the fastest lap time I'm seeing here from this group
2:10?
is 2:10.
Yeah.
No, there's a 2:08. Joe Ackley had a 2:08 that last lap.
Oh, speak of the devils.
Yeah.
Look at them come.
Jay,
Yeah.
we had to do the grids over,
Okay.
so
Attention out there in the paddock. I've just been talked to by our timing scoring folks. Looks like we've reposted the grids for races 4 on. So races 4 through 14. I'm not sure exactly how many of them changed, but they did say that they are reposting grids. So since we are going to be a lunch break here in just a moment, please make sure during the lunch break you get yourself back up there and check your grid positions. Again, they've reposted the grids. I'm not sure if it's races 4 through 14, but if you could make your way back up there during the lunch break, just recheck your grid position just to make sure that you're still where you're supposed to be. It would be appreciated. Again, the grids have been reposted, so please make sure you check your grid position or recheck your grid position during lunch.
And with that, let's go back to the race monitor and see where we are at.
Looks
So
like
McLean definitely scooted forward a little bit in the Classic 60s class. For Sportsman 500, it is still Kevin Hipp in 1, Stephen Hipp in 2, and Simon Brown in 3. Classic 60s 650, John Ricard in 1. Formula 250, Colton Roberts in 1, with Joe Ackley in 2. Greg Tomlinson is in 2 for Classic 60s 650. And we are going to have a little bit of a break at 11 o'clock. It is the lunch break here for the road racing side. I believe my co-host out here on the live feed, Rebecca, is going to be showing some clips and some footage from some of the dirt action that's been going on this past weekend. She had a chance to go on out there with a camera and record some of the best of moments out there, and she was telling me about them, and it sounds like there's some really, really great racing. It was very sloppy. It was very, very muddy. There's a little bit of slipping and sliding going on, so make sure you stick around. You're going to want to check it out. We'll be back with the road racing program at noon.
Race leaders working their way around some of the back markers as they work their way across the start-finish line. It's Alex McLean still out there with bike number 31X, Stephen Hipp, and 33 Kevin Hipp. Those guys are the father and son duo duking it out for the lead in the Sportsman 500 class. Then it's going to be C85, Simon Brown, and bike number 9, Colton Roberts, moving his way forward. Colton's holding on to the lead in the Formula 250 race. Then it's going to be bike number 709, Joe Ackley, right behind him, running second class for the Formula 250. And then 869, John Ricard, the Classic 6650 with bike number 5, Greg Tomlinson right behind him. He's holding on to that second position, 8th overall. Then it's going to be C27, Mark Brown, back there. I believe he's running 3rd in class for the Formula 250. Then bike number 19, Christopher Spargo, rounding out your top 10, running 4th in class himself. As everybody's seen halfway, so whatever happens, this will be a full race. Announced to Alex. AHRMA merchandise.
Current results. Let's go check these guys out here. It looks like pretty much nothing too much has changed between the last lap and this one. Alex McLean is still in 1 in Classic 60. Stephen Hipp is leading in Sportsman
I'll make sure
500.
you start pounding on that to get you guys some
All
more
right.
sales.
Jay was just checking with our race director about some of the AHRMA, some of the rad new merchandise that's for sale here. It's been selling like hotcakes because we've been selling sweatshirts like crazy.
Tent has been set up there next to the concession stand, so if you want to run up there and pick yourself up some lunch at the concession stand, stop in and check out some of the AHRMA merchandise that we've got available. I think we've got just a few samples of the limited edition AHRMA Classic MotoFest t-shirt. We had some specific t-shirts done up for this event, and I know they've been going fast. I'm not sure what sizes we have. I know there was a limited amount.
All right,
so
white
if you
flag
want to
is
get
out.
yourself
This
a
is
limited
last lap,
Classic
last
MotoFest
lap.
t-shirt
White
for
flag is out.
2021, now would be the time to get up there and get it, because I know they're going to sell out and they'll sell fast. While you're also up there, you can stop by and see Dave Alabama. He's got himself set up behind the concession stand. I think he's got some t-shirts for sale, signing autographs, so be able to stop in and see him for just a little bit, shoot the breeze with him, and check out some of his racing stories. 22, Alex McLean dropping back there to 3rd, with bike number 9, Colton Roberts there in 4th, and Joey Ackley rounding out your top 5 as the white flag flies. We'll see how it's going to turn out here in just a minute when they come around and take the checker. What's up?
White flag is out. White flag is out. This is our last lap for this race number 3. This great big huge grid out here of Classic 60s, Classic 60s 650, Sportsman 500, Formula 250, and 250 Grand Prix. Our flagger has his checkered flag in his right hand furled up, so I believe we've got one of our race leaders making their way through the back of the track towards the final turn. But it's been exciting, Jay, watching that father and son team duke it out there, right? I'm curious to see how this goes.
Here they come. Here's your race leaders out of the final turn, trying to work the draft as they're coming down the front straightaway. It's going to be bike number 31X, Stephen Hipp, just nipping 33, Kevin Hipp. Here's the battle for second, or rather 3rd overall. It's going to be 709, Joey Ackley, just nipping Colton Roberts there at the line. So Ackley's up to the top step of the podium for the Formula 250. 122, Alex McLean takes the unofficial win for the Classic 60, and bike number 9, Colton Roberts takes the unofficial 2nd place, rounding out your top 5 as the checkered flag waves out here. We are now, once we get the track cleared, we will be officially at lunch break. Also want to let everybody know that Dave Aldana is going to be leading the parade lap here. We're going to have some bikes out there doing a parade lap here during the lunch hour, and Dave will be leading that group, so we'll let you know when they take to the track here in just a little bit. Also want to let you know a non-denominational chapel service will start here in just a little bit on the 2nd floor of the timing and scoring tower, room number 209, the media center. If you enter the building here from the paddock, about in the middle of the building and come upstairs, the room should be just to your left there, past the staircase on the second floor. If you want to start making your way up here in the next 5 or 10 minutes or so, we'll put some more calls out for that one. Also, let everybody know the concession stand is open, the convenience store is open, and the AHRMA merchandising booth is open right there next to the concession stand. So it's still not too late to get yourself one of those limited edition AHRMA Classic MotoFest specific event t-shirts.
All right, official, unofficial results out here. Stephen Hipp, who I believe is the father of that father and son team, just squeaking by Kevin Hipp. Stephen Hipp in 1, Kevin Hipp in 2. And these are going to be your official, unofficial results from race number 3 out here. Second day, day 2 of the AHRMA Classic MotoFest here in Topeka, Kansas. We're going to be taking a little bit of a break for lunch. We'll be coming back with road racing action at noon. But stay tuned because there are going to be several more quick live recaps of some of the dirt racing that's been going on this entire weekend. So make sure you hit that notifications on button, click, like, and share all of these videos with your friends that love watching this awesome vintage motorcycle racing presented by AHRMA. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys back here on the live feed at 12 o'clock Central Time. Huge thanks to our friends over at AHRMA powering this incredible weekend here in Topeka. It's been a really good time. Dirt, road racing, trials, motocross, drag racing. We did it all out here. We've still got some more racing coming your way this afternoon, coming back at noon. This is the official title partners for the 2021 season, including Redwood Engineering, Haggerty Motorcycle, Bridgestone, 4SR, Racetech, Road Racing World, and many, many other partners, and our AHRMA safety partner, 811 Underground Team Racing.